And today I was listening to Brian Koppelman, and he was talking to Seth Godin, and it gave me an idea for what I wanted to talk about on my show tonight, and that is there a shortcut to success? And if you want to call this a shortcut to success, there is, and that is do the work. That's your shortcut to success. And that is my absolutely short and simple answer: do the work. Malcolm Gladwell, in his book The Tipping Point, talks about logging in 10,000 hours before you actually start to have a proficiency at whatever it is that you are trying to do, whether it's a craft like acting or painting or singing or playing an instrument, and there's no shortcut to the work actually, or playing a sport, or even learning a trade, like building furniture or being a carpenter, a finished carpenter, or anything like that. You have to log in 10,000 hours before you start to become proficient at that trade. So I would ask you, whatever it is that you are attempting to do, that you want to do, that you have your heart set on, that is your dream. And Seth was talking about in his podcast how, he thinks we do a disservice when we say go after your dreams, as though whatever you dream, you should just be able to have it. If you dream it, you should just be able to go out and do it. Negating the fact that it's going to take a lot of work and a step-by-step process to get there. That you can't be a singer and suddenly say, yes, and I'm going to have a hit #1 record on the Billboard chart next week. That's my dream, so that's what I'm going to have. Well, you're not going to have it next week, but maybe if you work really hard, by next month, you might be able to sing at a local club. Maybe. I don't know. You might have to take some lessons first and practice and get really good, and it might take you 6 months before you get a gig at the local club. And then you can parlay that gig at the local club to another gig at the local club, to being asked back at the local club, and then you parlay that into a gig at another local club, and then a little bit bigger local club, and then a bigger regional club, and then maybe that gets parlayed into recording a CD, and then you put that up on iTunes, and then maybe a few people download it, but not very many because they don't know who you are. And then but you see the process. You have to put in the hours and do the work and go step by step up the ladder. You can't just have this dream of being a superstar recording artist and in 6 months you have a #1 hit on the Billboard charts on iTunes. It doesn't work that way. When I was a kid, I was what they called a child prodigy in music, on the piano, and I practiced every day. I started at an hour a day, and then it was 2 hours a day, and then it was 3 hours a day, and I had my 10,000 hours in by the time I hit high school, and then it just went up from there. By the time I went to college, I was nearing my 20,000 hours. So when people, even today, but all throughout, and I stopped really pursuing a career or anything on the piano in my 20s. I stopped taking lessons. I stopped practicing regularly. It wasn't what I wanted to do as a career, but I still play, and I still accompany, and I still do gigs from time to time, and I can still sit down and sight read just about anything you put in front of me. It's a gift. And I worked really, really hard. I put in thousands of hours to be able to do that. And I still, to this day, people will ask me or will come up to me after I play at some recital or concert or accompany somebody in a program, and they'll say, "Oh, you play so well. I would give anything to be able to play like you." And I say, "Really? Go home and start practicing. It'll take you about 20,000 hours. And then you can play like me. That's all it takes. Just start practicing. When you've logged in as much time as I have, you'll be able to play like I do." It's as simple as that. And they go, "Oh, yeah." And I think, yeah, no, you wouldn't give anything, because you're not going to go home and start practicing. You're not going to put in the time. You wouldn't give anything. So don't say that to me. Don't say that. You know, it's a little annoying when people say that, because I know they don't really mean it. I know it's a compliment, and I don't say anything to them to dissuade them from giving the compliment that they feel they're giving. But in my mind, I'm thinking, yeah, you wouldn't give anything, because if you would, you could. You could. You just do the work. And the same thing is true if you want to be a director, if you want to be an actor, if you want to be a writer, if you want to be a painter, if you want to be really good at anything, you just do the work. That's the shortcut to success. Do the work. I understand that people who are really good at an artistic endeavor make it look easy, because that's really what you're supposed to do. You're supposed to make it look easy. If you made it look hard, then you'd be showing us all the work. You'd be showing us all the nuts and bolts. And we don't want to see all the nuts and bolts. We want it to look easy. We want it to look effortless. We want it to look like anybody could do it. But then everybody thinks they could do it. It looks so easy. I remember when I was singing, and I did a stint for a while as a singer, and I was working with Peggy Fleming at Harrah's in Lake Tahoe. And it was an ice show. It was primarily an ice show. I was just one of the singers on the show. And so it was Peggy, and it was, I think, 10 or 12 skaters. And they made it look so easy. They'd skate around, and it looked, they put ice on the stage, and they'd skate around the stage, and they'd do all these beautiful things, and it looked so easy. And I was mentioning that to them, you know, backstage in the dressing room one day. I said, you make it look so beautiful and so easy, and I bet you've just spent hours. And they were like, "Well, but you're a dancer." And I said, "Yeah." And they said, "Well, you probably could do it. Your ankles are strong. You could. It's just dancing on a blade." And I'm thinking, yeah, it's dancing on a blade that's like a quarter of an inch thin. It's like, that's not dancing on your foot, and that's not dancing on your toes. That's like a different kind of coordination that I don't think I could do. And they're like, "Sure you could do it. You just have to get used to being up on the blade. That's all. But you have the extension, you know those moves, you're strong. So I came home from Tahoe, and I'm like, well, let me try it. Let me go to an ice rink, and let me put on the skates. And I couldn't do it to save my life. I couldn't get up on those skates and stay up there. It's like, oh, hell no. They lied. They completely lied. They made it look so easy. It was like, yeah, it would take hours, thousands of hours to be able to do this. And that's when it really struck me viscerally for me. I always intellectually knew that you were supposed to make it look easy and effortless, but that's when it struck me viscerally, physically. it's like, oh, people who are really good at what they do really do make it look easy. I mean, I guess I've always made the piano look easy. I guess I've made it look easy to people, but I never understood that other people make their thing look easy to me. And then I think, well, I could do that. And no, hell no, you can't do that. It's not easy. It takes thousands of hours of practice and doing the work. So, yeah, you have to do the work. You just have to do the work. But if you love it, then the work is fun. You enjoy the work. That's one of the lovely things about the arts is if it's something that you love, then you love the work. And that's the gratifying thing about what we do is I love the work. I love the work of writing. I love the work of directing. I love the work of acting. I don't want to do anything else. I want to do that all day long, all day, every day. And if you have something that excites you like that, if there's something that you love that much, that doing the work of getting better at it and improving yourself in that craft is something that you love to do, then that's what you're meant to do. That's what you should be doing. And then you know you're on the right path.